Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of our Holiday Lights Beadalong. Hopefully you have completed your day 1 pieces. Now, if you haven't completed all of them, that's okay because you'll probably have time to finish them today. Today is a little bit easier in my opinion, okay? I've only done 2 so far, so I'm going to have to finish these off. I apologize. I was late getting out the PDF pattern, which is available in my pattern shop. I have had the week of Thanksgiving, I had a viral infection of some sort, and it's left me with like dizziness, vertigo. I think it's like a vestibular infection. So I was struggling to even see the screen straight when I was doing the pattern. So hopefully I've done it all correctly and there aren't any mistakes in there. It is 15 or 16 pages long, I can't remember now, but it does cover all 4 days of the bead-along, and it's only $5 because obviously I'm giving you guys the videos for free. So it's just a little token way for you to say thank you, or if you prefer to work from a pattern, it's there for you, or if you like to keep it in your records or whatever, you can go and purchase that. So I'll put the link for that down below. Okay, so today we're going to be working on the base of our piece, and you're going to need your main color of 11-0 and your second color of 11-0 if you're using a second color. If not, just do it all in the one color, okay? So we're going to begin by making a little square of right angle weave that is 7 units tall and 7 units across. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So this is kind of like bringing me back. For the Battle of the Beadsmith entry that I did this year, I did 48 little squares of right angle weave, and I kind of never want to do it again. Anyway, they were larger than this. They were actually started off as 9 by 9, but then I added another row on each side, so they ended up being 11 by 11. Anyway, so you're going to pick up your first 4 beads, and I'm using my color A, my main color for this, okay? Leave your tail, all right? Sew through all 4 again to form a little ring around your finger, okay? And then you're going to sew up through the very first 2 beads again, okay? Like this. And you can adjust this unit if you need to. You can slide it up or down if you need to adjust the size of your tail. I'm going to bring you in a little as well. Okay, so once you've got your little group of 4, this is 1 unit of right angle weave. We're going to build another one on the top. So you're going to pick up 3 of your A beads, okay? And I'm coming out on the right, so I'm going to enter into the left side. So think of it as you're always drawing a circle. So if my thread's going this way, the circle wants to loop around that way, okay? And each unit will be a different direction. So that one we did in a anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction, okay? So we need to get up to this bead up here. So just move up that side bead and move forward through the next bead. And then this time we're going to be doing in a clockwise direction. So again, we're picking up 3 beads, okay? You're going through the bead here because the thread's coming this way. So to form a circle, we need to loop around this way and enter in. And then we have to get up to the top up here. Okay, so we now have 3 units, and you can count the units by counting the beads on the side. So 1, 2, 3. or you can kind of count the pairs, 1, 2, 3. So we need 7, okay? So keep going. Okay, so I've done my 7 units. So 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, 5 units, 6 units, 7 units. And you'll see that it looks really messy and just disheveled, okay? So this is something that you may not do, but I highly recommend you do. So come out the top like you would add another unit, okay, but you're not going to. Always come out the top. And then you're going to zigzag back down. So right now this side has 2 threads and this side has 2 threads, but we need to even that out. So you're going to sew down, just follow the unit around and sew through the base of that unit. Okay. So that unit is now a little bit straighter. So now you're just going to follow the thread path. You're going to go down the next side and through the base of the next unit. And you can do it in 2 moves. You can do it in 1 move. However you want to do it is fine with me. Whew, that was, I kind of wish I had chosen colors that were slightly more exaggerated for this video. Okay, so you can see now that I have come through the second unit here, and you see how those are lining up nicely, whereas these ones are still a big mess. And then I'm just going to follow the thread down the side and into the base of the unit below. And when you pull on this, you'll see that everything kind of lines up much nicer. So going back through, you're going to wiggle your way all the way down to the bottom. And every row that we add on to the side, when you get to the top, you're going to wiggle your way back down to the bottom. So let me show you the second row because that is slightly different because we're changing color. And for those of you who do know what you're doing, you have to watch out for the 6th unit is where you change color. The very top one of the 6th unit has to be back to your A color, and the 6th row, the outside one, has to be in your A color. Okay, so I'll show you that in a second. Let me get down to the bottom here. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. Just stay here and I'll explain in a minute. Okay, so this time it's easy and we can come out the bottom. Next time we're probably going to come out on the other side and we're going to have to circle around to get over to the side bead, okay? Okay, so here we are at the bottom, and that mess looks so much nicer now, doesn't it? Look at that. Just that simple thing of going back down has made all the difference. Okay, so the bottom unit is still our A color. The first one, you always have to add 3, and every unit after that, we're going to only add 2 beads. All right, so I'm coming out the bottom, so I'm going into the top of the bead. And then I have to circle around to get up here. So I have to go through this one, this one, this one, and that one. So you're just going to kind of follow the thread around in a circle, okay? Okay, so you want to be exiting from the next side unit. Okay, so there I am. Here I only have to add 2. So this bead is the bottom and this bead is the left, so I'm only adding 2, okay? And from here on out, you're only going to be adding 2. So here I am picking up my color B, okay? I'm going to go through both of the 2 beads right here. and then you have to move forward into the top bead. And here again, I'm only picking up 2, but it's these 2 here. But I'm going in this direction, so I'm going to have to sew through these 2 and circle all the way back around to get up to here, which is, you know, it's only every other time that you have to do that. So again, I'm picking up 2 of my color B, going down the side there, and then I'm going forward here. And then I have to go through this one, this one, this one, which is 3. I like to just save time and sew through all 3 of them in one go. I just find it a bit easier, okay? So, you know, as you get quicker, you'll be doing that, and then you'll pick up 2 and you're just gonna sew up those 2 right there, okay? So pick up your 2B again, color B. Just sew through those 2, and then you have to move forward into the top bead to start the next unit, which is the one that circles back around on itself, okay? So looking at this, we have done, pull this one out so you can kind of count a little better. We have done 1, 2, 3, 4, so we have 1 more, and then we have to pay attention to the color on the 6th unit, okay? So here it's the same, 2B. You're going down here. And you can also, if you feel fancy, go through that one too, just to save time, okay? And then you're going up 3 here. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now this will be our 6th unit. See how I'm at the almost at the top. So here we have to add a color A at the top. So you're just going to pick up an A and then a B. Okay, and I don't know if you can even see the difference, but I promise you there is a difference there. That is the purple, that is the silver. Okay, and again, we're so missing these 2, so we're going to go through these 2 right here. Okay, and here we just add 2 purples at the top. Okay, so 2 of your color A. You're going to sew through both of those to finish that off. Okay, and now this is where it's weird. You still have to sew through these again to make sure that there's 2 threads in there, okay? And then you can begin your wiggle back down all the way to the bottom, okay? So the next 4 rows are basically the same. You're always going to start off with your 3 of your A color, then you're going to switch to B, and on that 6th unit you have to pay attention to the top. Make sure that your top one is your back to your color A, and then the very last unit will be your color A. So when I get back to the 6th row over, you're going to have to make sure that this bead right here on the side is your color A, and then your 7th row will be all color A, okay? So the 6th unit, the top, and the 6th unit on the side, you want to be color A, and then all the middle section is your color B. I hope that makes sense. Right, I'm on my 6th row, so for the first unit, it's all purple or color A again. Here I'm picking up a B and then an A. And then when you get up to the 6th, by the 6th unit, 6 up here, they're both going to be color A, and then the rest is all color A, okay? Just to help you understand that. So you'll see here, I've put the color A on the side of that 2nd unit here, and then here I'm going to have to, again, I'm coming out this way, so I'm going that way, so I need another A on the side here, and then a B up here. Okay, so you're just going to have to be super careful on your last row if you're doing two colors. You don't have to do two colors. You can just do one color if it's easier, okay? All right, I'll be back in a minute once I finish this. Okay, so here you can see on that 6th unit, I've got 2 B's, okay? So that's what I was talking about there, and then you're gonna do wheel back down and then do all A's up the side, all right? Okay, so when you finish, you should have a lovely little panel like this, and remember you do have to sew back down, so your starting tail will be on your lower corner and your working thread is here. Okay, so now you're going to sew forward into the next corner right here, okay? And we're going to put one of our B beads in between each of these beads, but not at the corner. So when you get to the corner, you're just going to sew around and then continue on down, adding one of your B's, okay? So these are still all 11 O's. We're only using 11 O's today, nothing else. So you're just going to sew down 1 bead, add 1 bead, sew down 1 bead, add 1 bead, all the way around. Okay, and add that last bead in. So you now have this, and even if you're not doing 2 colors in your raw, you might want to use a second color on the outside. It does help you be able to see what's going on a little bit easier, okay? All right, so at each corner now we have this 1 unit of raw. Raw equals right angle weave, okay? Which consists of these 4 beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we're going to build some legs off of these beads. So I am coming out. I'm going to flip this over because it'll be easier for me. I'm coming out right here. Okay, so we're going to pick up 2 beads, 2 B beads, 1 A bead, and 2 B beads. Okay, so 5 beads in total. So 2 B's, 1 A, 2 B's. All right, and I'm coming out this bottom corner bead right here on this, going in this direction. I'm going to sew through this bead again. Okay, so it looks like this. Then I'm going to sew forward into the next bead on my little unit of raw right here, okay? And I'm going to pick up 2B, 1A. And if I stand this up, right, so that's that side. So now I'm building this side. So I'm going to share these 2 right here. I'm going to go down those 2. And this will kind of help in a second for it to make a little bit more sense, okay? All right, so there we go. So there's the second side of my leg, okay? I'm going to move forward through the bead I started in, because I went up and around, so I'm just moving forward through that bead, okay? And then I'm going to move forward into the next bead on this unit of raw, which is this one right here. So I'm just gonna pretend all these other beads aren't even here, okay? I can't even see them. That's my next bead. So I'm gonna sew forward into that bead. Just honestly, just ignore everything below that bead. It's not there, okay? So again, here we need to pick up this side plus the top one. So we're gonna pick up 2B, 1A. We're gonna go down these 2, which are here on the side, okay? And then I have to sew back into the bead I started in, which is down below, and it's a little bit difficult to see. It's that one there. Okay, so see, here's my two that I just added and my one on the top. Okay, so that's that, and then I have to move forward to the last bead on the fourth side. So just sew into that bead. Okay, and we already have the two side beads on each side. We don't have the top bead here, so we just have to sew up, pick up our top bead and sew down. I'm sorry, somebody is leaf blowing outside. Okay, so we finished that unit, but we still have to sew back into our base bead there. So sew through that base bead. Okay. Okay, so that is the leg is on, but we need to now join these four top beads together. So I'm just going to sew straight on up the leg that's right there by the bottom bead where I am. Okay, and I'm going to sew forward through all four of those beads to join them together. You'll actually have to sew through the very first one extra time to close up that gap. Okay, there we go. So when it's completed, you should have a beautiful looking raw unit right on the top of your leg there. Okay, so it looks like this on the side, like a little tower. Okay, and it has that on the top. Okay, so we are now going to move down through our corner. Just go straight down those two beads right there. And now I'm going to sew forward through this bead and all these edge beads until I get over to this unit, and then you can start building your wall. Move to this bead, build your wall, move to this bead, build your wall. Okay, and that way you can build your wall, go close it up, come down. All right, and do the next corner and the next corner. All right, it's not difficult, I promise. Okay, this is 1 unit of craw, for those who are wondering. This is cubic right angle weave, but it's just 2 tall instead of 1 tall. All right, so that is basically what cubic right angle weave is. It's a little tower. Okay, all right, finish off those legs and then we'll do the next step. Okay, so I just finished going around my last little leg here, so we have a kind of little table looking thing. Okay. Okay, once you've got your 4 feet on, we're going to build a little wall around the edge like this on all 4 sides. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So when you are finishing reinforcing your foot, you're going to sew forward so that you're coming out of the foot so that you're ready to build your first wall here. Okay, just ignore the rest. Pretend I haven't done that yet. You're going to pick up 2A, your main color, and 2B accent color. Okay, you're going to look down below and you're going to sew through the A bead, which is kind of hard because it's tucked in there a little behind these B beads, but you want to sew through the A bead. Okay, you're going to sew up through the first 2 beads on your foot, okay, here. And then you're going to skip that first A bead that we added, and you're going to sew through the second A bead, like this, okay? Then you're going to pick up a B, an A, and 2B. So accent, main, and 2 accent. All right, you're going to sew down through, sew back through the next A bead on the base. You're going back towards where you're coming from. Okay, you're going to go up the previous two on the side that we just added a minute ago. And make sure your thread goes on the right side. You're going to skip the B bead that we added, and we're going to go through the A bead. Okay, and you're going to continue doing this until you get down to the end. So B, A, and 2 B's, so accent, main, and 2 accents. Okay, again, you're going through the A bead on the bottom, you're going up through the side, you're skipping the B bead, and you're sewing forward through the A bead. All right, I have to do one more, and then we're going to join on to our next leg right here. Okay. Okay, when you get to where you only have one purple or one A bead left and then the next end, okay, you're going to pick up a B and an A. So accent main, okay, you're going to go down those two on your foot, okay. You're going to pass through the A bead before the foot. You're going to sew up through the previous two. You're going to skip the B bead. You're going to sew through the A bead. And then you're going to pick up one extra A bead right here, okay? And you're going to sew forward through this bead, and then you're going to build your next wall, okay? So you're going to do that all the way around, and when you finish, you're going to have a little unit that looks like this, okay? You don't need to sew around and reinforce because we will do that later on. So what you're going to do now is we're going to sew in the thread. So when you get to the end, okay, you're going to just sew down to get down to the bottom, and you're going to weave your thread in to the right angle weave. Okay, so let me show you. So just kind of follow the beads on the right angle weave until you get kind of to an inland area. Okay, so here I am, and then you're going to weave around here a couple times, and then you can cut your thread off. You don't need to tie any knots or anything, just sewing in like 2 times around the circle. It's not going to come undone, okay? So just make your way around the unit once, around the unit twice, and then, I mean, I usually kind of, you can move away from the unit, go down a couple other beads if you want, whatever, and then you can just cut that off, and you're going to do the same thing with your starting tail. You're going to weave into the middle, and you're going to go around a unit somewhere, and you're going to tie that off, and then that will be your base complete. So you're going to just set that to the side, and we will use that on day 4. Okay, all right guys, so good luck with that. I hope it all goes okay for you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.